joined alongside bubbly, energetic Madii Himbury, and a Winter Olympian and a Moguls extraordinaire. Madii, brought up in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, surrounded by beaches, you were tap dancing, you did a bit of ballet. How did you get into skiing?
Well, my parents, we went away for holidays every, school holidays. I was lucky enough to go overseas since I was 3 years old, and I actually started in gymnastics. And when I was 14, I had a few injuries and kind of was suckered into the mogul skiing life. And I begged my parents, begged them to join Perisher Sports Club. And my mum wouldn't let me unless I did a 360 that day in the training park, because I was trying to do it all year and I was being a little scaredy cat, wasn't doing it. So mum was like, go do it. And so I did it that day and I was allowed to sign up the next year, and the rest just fell into place, I guess.
Awesome. And I guess from there, those winter sports aren't as conventional or as well publicised. I guess what's the pathway from there? You did some skiing through school events and things like that. How did it all take place from there?
Inter-schools is the big school competition, so I got to try a bunch of different events. I did them all, and decided Moguls was the one for me. And then I joined Perisher Sports Club, which is like the club level. You get to go down every weekend, doing that drive back and forth. Thanks, Mum and Dad. And then from then, I got selected onto NSWIS, so the New South Wales Institute of Sport, and we started going overseas and training for 6 to 8 weeks. We got to do a few competitions over there and at home, mainly in Colorado. And from then we started to get more competitive, going over for nearly 2-3 months we get to go overseas. I'm home for maybe 3 months of the year now, so a lot of on snow training, which is overseas really. We just chase winter year round.
Oh God. Most people chase the summer, but you chase the winter.
I know, unfortunately.
Got to rug up, but I want to ask you a question. So you said you did a 360, which is unbelievable, but you were the second Australian to do a full twist on the snow.
Yeah.
Female at that. What do you think? I mean, how did that feel to actually do that and pull that off?
It was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Well, obviously gymnastics background, that's really helped me to do the aerial skills. I've been working on it really hard to try and make this my trick, so that's going to be my focus this year, to try and get it into competition. But that first time, I don't know, I was very nervous. I do the thing, I count to 3 and just go. So we do a lot of training with our sports psych. It's just we do all this grounding back to basics, numbers after numbers, and it's just letting your body do what it's been practicing to do and know that it will happen. But to be honest, that first one I landed facing the wrong way. I started crying and I screamed at my coach, everything's different. But I walked back up the hill, did it again, landed it facing forward, and we fist pumped and moved on.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Amazing.
So in terms of the actual moves you guys do, I mean, Moguls using a lot of your knee muscles and everything about it's just heavily focused on your legs and your knees, but is a lot of it muscle memory as well? So how does your body recover from an event like that?
So it's letting your legs move as fast as you can while your upper body stays still is the idea. So you've got to have a lot of core strength to hold this all still and control while your legs do all the work. So we do a lot of training in the gym, so a lot of cardio, a lot of leg strength, leg endurance. And then, so it's just pretty much putting those runs down. We train for probably 2-3 hours a day on snow. And then for recovery, we've got physio, ice baths, spin and stretch, that sort of thing to get your body back into it. But competitions are kind of relaxed. It's more the heart stress than the leg stress. So you probably only do 4 or 5 runs in a competition day rather than a training day. We do 8 to 12.
Yeah, right. So I guess training for winter sports, what does an ideal training day, or you said you go away for weeks on end, what does a training week or a training day look like?
For us, we go 3 days on, 1 day off. And that 1 day off is completely off. We do nothing, nice. Which is really nice. But for our 3 days on, we have about an hour warm up because our sport is very plyo, movement based. So we do lots of hopping, lots of jumping, balance, that sort of thing, because we don't want to be injured on snow.
Of course.
And then we get on snow, it's about 2 to 3 hours. So we usually break it down into either focusing on just the jump or just the moguls, or when it's close to competition, we'll be putting the whole run together.
Right.
And so as athletes, because it's an individual sport, we all have to plan with our coach before we're out there what we're working on. So one day it might be speed for me, one day it might be slowing things down and thinking more technical aspects of the turn.
Right. Very interesting. And you just touched on there, it's an individual sport. I guess, how does that work for you, or how do you stay motivated, I guess, if you've not got like teammates around you?
Well, our team's pretty close.
Yeah.
We've got an awesome bunch. We live together and train together pretty much all year round, so we're all very close. So it's hard because we are competing against each other, but we are a really close team.
Yeah.
We're there to help each other get better, progress, and I don't know, I just feel like I've got more to give and more to offer, so I'll keep going as long as I'm getting better.
Awesome.
So first World Cup at 21, amazing feat. You travel throughout the whole year with a whole bunch of these people who are in your team. What's it like to be on tour with all these guys and all the different places you've traveled to?
It's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't live the hard life, that's for sure. I get to travel Europe, America, Canada, that sort of thing. I'm lucky enough to have my family come and watch me. So that first World Cup, my parents did come and watch. I got a 21 balloon up on the hill, so that was exciting. Everyone, it's a great support network. You got to get along with your team to have fun. We also hang out with the rest of the world's mogul team, so a bunch of different countries. So we're pretty close with everyone. So like Sweden, America, Canada, so it's an awesome group to hang around, but unfortunately you have to compete against them.
So speaking, I guess, of being on tour all year round, you've seen loads of ski resorts. What's been your favourite so far?
To compete at would be Deer Valley. It's got the best atmosphere. We get a huge crowd. It's on the weekend. We're also competing there with the aerials guys, so awesome to have other teams around and to go watch and support them. And I don't know if you guys have seen aerials. It's crazy.
Awesome, yeah, it is.
But then for free skiing, I guess we used to go to Japan back in the day, and their snow is unreal. It just keeps snowing, but we don't get to do too much of that anymore.
How often throughout the year would it ski in Japan?
Would I?
How often a year would ski snow in Japan?
Does it snow?
Yeah.
Oh, their season is 4 months or whatever, so way longer than ours. Their peak is, I think, February, March, so you got to be out of school to go then.
And you've had a lot of injuries in skiing, and I know it's tough. You've done both ACLs. I think you've done your back as well. How do you come back from that, especially your back? I mean, ACLs is one thing, but to come back from a really sore back, I mean, that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think all mogul skiers have sore backs. It's just choosing what you want to deal with, I guess, like what pain and sacrifice are you going to take to be the best at what you want to be. Like, it's like anything. I mean, I started when I was in high school, so I was missing out on weekends at home hanging out with boys. So that was a big, commitment that I had to make back then, and then it changed to injury. So I did my ACL when I was 16 and then again when I was 18. The first one kind of sucked, but the second one was like horrible, like debilitating. I nearly quit for a while there. Wasn't going to come back because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing in a sport that I'm not very good at, and I just keep getting injured. Maybe it's not for me, like questioning myself. But I did come back, and I've become a better athlete after that, realised that I really do want it, and chased after what I was hoping for, so made it.
So when you did the rehab on your knee, that's one thing, but is there a certain way you have to structure your rehab and your recovery as a skier?
I mean, it's just listening to the high powers. We get lots of support from all these different people through the program, so NSWIS, Sydney Uni, and then I get help from my man Sam Leslie, and so just listening to them, listening to your body. As you get older, you get more in tune. You know when you need recovery and when you can push it a little bit more. But it's pretty much just holding yourself back from an ACL. Like, you got to take that time and just think about the long-term gains. And like, you're frustrated because you're back to the basics, but it can't hurt to go back to the basics sometimes.
No, of course. Now, you did mention Sydney Uni, so let's take away from your skiing and your sport. Now, you're studying, so tell us a bit about that. What are you studying and how far into your degree are you?
I'm going to finish this year,
Woohoo!
so I'm excited, finally. I took last year off to focus on the Olympics, but yeah, I'm studying sports science at Sydney University, so I'm out at Cumberland, but they're awesome because it's a sports-based campus, lots of physio and that sort of thing, so they're super understanding, and they understand that my first priority really at the moment is skiing, and I'm just hoping that I can do this degree in between, and they've been awesome and let me finish this, so I'm so close to finishing.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Talk us about the balancing act you have to put into fruition. I guess you're studying and you're skiing and you're trying to focus on both things. Is it hard to do?
Yeah, it's prioritising, pre-planning. I think I'm advantaged by being a female, we plan these things out.
That's true. No.
Yeah.
I've got nothing wrong with that. No, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm not a great organiser, so I'm bad with that.
Yeah, and so we know when we're going to go away and when we're going to be back. It's emailing, communicating. We have people that help us at Sydney Uni to get these times off and to put in these letters. And when I come home, I go and cram and get some tutoring from Sydney Uni. They make sure I can pass my prac exams, which is the hardest part, not being here. I did get told to drop out now because I was going to miss it, but I passed. So
Well done.
Excellent. So no studying while you were away at the Olympics?
No. It was all me. It was me year last year.
Fair enough.
But it worked out well, so
Yeah.
it was the right choice.
I want to ask you back to the Olympics, but first, as Moguls as a whole, before we get into that, for people that don't actually know what Moguls is and how you approach it, what does it take to be a Mogul skier?
Well, the components of a Mogul run, so we've got bumps, jumps, and bumps again. So you've got to integrate the Mogul skiing by breaking up with jumps. So 40% turns, and they're judged by the judges at the bottom. And then you have your airs. So you have to have two different airs. So I do a 360 up the top and a back layout down the bottom. And then they're judged by the degree of difficulty as well as the execution score. And then you've also got time on top. So you have to balance, kind of make that sacrifice. Do you want to be nice, neat and tidy, but a bit slower? Or do you want to go it and have a few mistakes and get that speed points, which I personally go for the go hard.
Go hard, go home?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Give it a go.
So that's more my personality, which is just a bit more rogue, we call it, or Madii the Wildling. So I tend to have those leg splits out there, but get a few extra time points, and I go big in the air because I'm super confident in the air. So you got to work with your strengths, and that's what mine are. So.
Do you know when you're going down that slope if you've done something wrong, besides the obvious ones? Or are you a bit nervous? You're waiting for the judges to say what they're going to say, or you know within yourself?
What if it's good for you or good for that particular day or course. But it's a judge sport. They can choose to pick up on it. They can choose to be lenient. You get these bib numbers, and if you have a nice bib number, they're more likely to shy away from
Wow.
from deducting you from the mistakes because they think you're the best in the world. But we had Brittany Cox on our team. She was wearing the gold bib, so it made Australia look really good. So that works in our favour too, even if I'm not wearing that bib. So it's about selling yourself to the judge. So even if you have a mistake, it's how well you correct that mistake or hide that mistake. So it's games, mind games with the old judges.
Yeah. No, so you just mentioned the bib numbers. I had no idea. So are they? Talk us through the bib numbers. Do they obviously have hidden meaning, or represent something, or?
You start off fresh every season,
right?
And so from the first comp, you get a bib number, and it's pretty much your rank for the season. So you just carry it through. So it's adding of points depending on how you sat, and so the top 30 are seeded. So seeded, apparently not seated. Seeded, yeah. And so if you're in the top 30, you get a ranked bib, and then behind that, you're just in the rabble at the back. So you really want to be in that top 30 because we get randomly placed in the start order in that top 30, and the course is nice, or it's freshly slipped, it's been chopped well, so it's in your advantage to be in that top 30. And then if you've had a rough start, bad season, you'll be back behind, but you can still make it back. But yeah, it's just keep pushing it, try not to worry about the bib, but it does help.
Oh, who knew?
I wouldn't have a clue about that, but that's interesting to know. You've done it 1,000 times before, if not more than that, going down that slope. But that first time at the Olympics, going down there, what was your mindset like, and how different was it?
It was very different. No competition compares to it, like none at all. I was freaking out.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah,
absolutely fair enough.
So the day before I was having real issues with airs. I couldn't land my top trick and I was in tears, and the sports psych said to me, "How many times have you done this trick, Madii?" And I was like, "A lot." And he's like, "Then why can't you do it? Why are you freaking out?" So we had this little debrief, talked about how many I've done, that I can do it, go back out there. It was fine. But you know, you got to stress out to come back down, I guess. But yeah, that first run, I was super nervous, even though we didn't have any pressure on us because there was 2 qualifying. But when I made it down to the bottom of that first run, I think was one of the highlights of the Olympics for me, because you know, I could call myself an Olympian, which is one. But, you know, I knew I could still do it. I knew I could make it down. You kind of have that uncertainty with all this pressure, and everyone's here to watch you, you know, the country is watching you. And it's just like, I don't know if I should be here. But, you know, it paid off. I was okay.
It did, yeah, sure. I mean, everyone was super proud of all the athletes that were there. But was it the sense of there was a camera on you while you were doing it? Or was it more that, okay, well, I'm actually at the Olympics now?
Yeah, it was just the hype over the Olympics. Like, a big deal, big deal. And like, you know, we arrived at the airport and we had camera crew on us at the airport. We had to go put a shirt on and put makeup on after flying on the plane. I've never done that before.
I don't think anyone wants to do that either.
Yeah. And like, you know, the media there, we had all this, you know, amazing support staff there looking after us, but like you felt important, and but you also felt that kind of, you know, privilege / like pressure. And then we had this opening ceremony and they sung the national anthem, and I'm like, oh, I'm here to represent Australia. That really got me. But yeah, I guess when you get out there, it's just remembering while you're there, like, I'm here to do this run and do the best I possibly can and not worry about all that around you.